is Leeds Trinity University.
Hello and welcome to today's Yorkshire Voice Newscast with me, Phoebe Morton.
And me, Mia Hager. Coming up in today's programme, we'll hear from Masterchef finalist Radha Boland and speak to our reporter Grace McGrory about an amazing initiative in Saltaire, dancing for people with Parkinsons.
Then we're going to get all the Bradford events coming up this weekend and next week. We've got a Wellbeing Park Run in Keighley, a Cherry Blossom Festival, and the Pint of Science Festival. I can really understand why Bradford's nominated for City of Culture 2025. But today is International No Diet Day, Mia. Don't you think this sounds a bit like one of those vague, special day things? But could you tell us a bit more about it?
So this is all about body positivity, diversity, and promoting a healthy lifestyle with a focus on health and happiness at any size or weight. It was first celebrated in the UK in 1992, so we've had 20 years of it.
Well, we wanted an expert's opinion to talk to about diet, so we have a spokesperson from the British Dietetic Association on the line. We've got Priya too. Hello, Priya, you there?
Hi there, lovely to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. So could you tell us, on today, International No Diet Day, what's the deal with dieting? Do you think it actually works long term?
So we know from the scientific evidence that actually the majority of diets don't work. And I think a lot of people would agree with that. People go on a diet short term in order to lose weight, and then they end up regaining the weight and more as well. We get this rebound weight gain. So the majority of these short fad diets definitely we know are not working.
And what do you think is the strangest diet that you might have heard of people doing?
Well, there's been the baby food diet. I think that's a bit weird, where people are pureeing all their diet and eating out of baby food jars.
What was the supposed benefit of the baby food diet meant to be?
Well, if you're only eating small jars of baby food, you're definitely going to be eating less calories. Yeah. And we know that about all diets. That's the reason that people lose weight on diets, because they're eating less calories. But then what happens after a little while? You get hungry, don't you? And your body sends out more signals wanting food. So then you overconsume calories and you put all that weight back on again.
So what do you think is the more healthy alternative to dieting then? Is it just eating balanced and everything in moderation, the phrase that we always hear?
Definitely. It's getting back to basics, having a look at what you're doing in terms of your day-to-day eating, making sure you've got that balance. And if you're looking for a structure to follow, then the Mediterranean style of eating is the way that we know is the healthiest and the best in terms of our physical health. So eating more plant foods, eating less ultra-processed foods and salty foods, having whole grains and lean proteins, and eating regularly throughout the day.
Brilliant. And I'm presuming that also includes having a lot of olive oil in your diet, because if so, I'll be very much down for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Olive oil is really good for your heart. It's known as cardioprotective, so it's actually a good thing to be having. Obviously, do be mindful it's got calories in, so we don't want to be putting on absolutely everything we're eating, but it is good.
I'll bear that in mind. And so do you think that International No Diet Day is an important day to have, and this is an important conversation to be having?
I think this conversation is really important to be having, and therefore the day is good if it makes us talk more about it. But I think, as you said right at the start, sometimes it does come across as a bit of, it's just another one of those days. It's another fad. And this is one of those things that definitely shouldn't be a fad, and it does need to become better known about.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much for talking to us, Priya.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's all really interesting, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Have you ever tried to follow a diet?
Not like a proper strict one that had its own name. I've definitely tried, eating healthier and stuff, which is a lot easier to stick to, I think, than some of these crazy diets that I've heard of.
Well, we'll move away from one big thing today and go to the probably more local news for today, which is local elections. So we've got Ella Bicknell on the line, who is at Keighley Count, I believe. Ella, what's going on?
Hi, Phoebe. Yeah, I am at Keighley Leisure Centre. Pleasure to be joining you today. The bell has just gone, signing the end of the morning count. We are still here for the afternoon count, but we have 6 results here for you for wards in this sort of region. Of course, Sedberg is another area in Bradford having their own personal count. I can give you a few results from them too, but I'll start off with the results from Keighley. So most interestingly, in Bingley, there's been a Labour gain. Now, David Heseltine used to enjoy a majority of 500 votes when he was elected to this office in 2019. He's just lost his seat to Joe Wheatley, which is a very impressive majority that as well, which seems to be a sign of the times at the moment. Labour are making some big gains across the country, and we're very interested to know whether or not Bradford's going to be among them. In Ballindon, that has not been the case. It's not surprising. It's been a Conservative area for a long time now, and it's been a Conservative hold. So Alison Elizabeth Coates is elected as the councillor for this ward with 2,232 votes. Do you want some more results?
Could you just tell us what it's been like being there on the day, listening to these elections results coming in live?
Yeah, it's been really interesting because I think this is the nature of counts, that everything's kind of quite quiet. Everyone's very nervous. People are pacing up and down the sports hall. They're always in the most strangest locations, and there's hundreds and hundreds of people down there. We've got this panoramic view above the sports hall, and at first it's very quiet. Everybody's waiting for the count, and then hands were very busy passing over bits of white paper. You could see people in rows pacing up and down the hallway. I saw one councillor, can't tell you who it is, can't tell you what party, but having a cheeky cigarette behind the bins outside of the leisure centre. And then suddenly the count's underway, and we get results after results. And we've had 5 results in the last 15 minutes. Me and my partner Maureen from BCB Radio are very relieved to have a bit of a break. But yeah, it's been a mixture of Labour gains, a few Conservative holds. We've had one Labour gain from a Lib Dem seat. The Lib Dems will be really disappointed about that because they were hoping to make some big gains this election, not necessarily in the Bradford area, but nationally. They seem to be doing well nationally. But yeah, it's a very exciting atmosphere around here, very busy. Just a good atmosphere.
I feel like I'm only going to associate sports halls with exams and election campaigns. I don't know why they choose that location to make really, really stressful. It should be for kids playing, not life-changing decisions being made. But brilliant, Ella. Thank you so much for all of that. It's great that you're out there doing proper election coverage. So well done.
My pleasure, guys. Have a great show.
Thanks, Ella.
Thank you.
Well, going back to food, now we've had that brief little election break. Bradford local and Masterchef finalist Radha Bolland spoke to us earlier about her Masterchef journey. Now, she's only 23 and she's a law graduate. Hate to say it, I am also 23 and a law graduate, but I've not been on Masterchef. So I don't know if you can get much more impressive than her. And we spoke to her earlier, so we've got a bit of a clip from that. First of all, well done on getting into the final. Absolutely amazing. I mean, could you tell us about your Masterchef journey? And I know you didn't do huge amounts of cooking before, so could you just tell me how it's kind of helped you grow as a chef, I guess?
Definitely. I mean, thank you so much, first of all. I mean, the whole experience has been a roller coaster of emotions. I mean, throughout this journey, I have learned that I am resilient and I can think on my feet, and I've got transferable skills that I can put into use, really, especially when it came to the invention test. I mean, to hear that your food's being described as, off the charts delicious, or that your puddings could, already grace a fine dining restaurant, it's been overwhelmingly positive. And I've learned that if I put my mind to it, I can achieve anything. And, one of my favorite films has got to be Ratatouille. And, in the words of Chef Gaston, well, anyone can cook, but only the fearless can be great. And I think Masterchef has really proved that. And yes, I've only been cooking for a limited amount of time, and I know that I've got so much more to learn, and my journey is definitely going to continue within the food industry. But I just wanted to prove to myself and to anyone else out there, no matter if you're dyslexic, which I am, or you're struggling with something, if you just really push yourself and put everything into it, whether or not you think you're good enough or not, you can achieve the impossible, essentially. And I think that's really sums up my Masterchef journey, to be honest.
I think that sounds absolutely amazing. Like, that's such a heartwarming thing, I think. I also wanted to ask, because he's my celebrity crush, what was it like working with Gordon Ramsay?
Oh, my word. Honestly, the final 3 contestants, didn't actually realise we were going to be working with Gordon Ramsay and Chef Matt Abe until we actually walked into the restaurant and saw them both stood there behind the stove. So it was a massive, massive shock for all 3 of us. But he is an incredible guy. The knowledge he has and the passion he's got for food is amazing, and he's so wonderful. I think a lot of people have been saying, you know, is he as scary as he appears on the TV? And nothing at all like that. He's really wonderful, and the amount of help and advice he gave all of us in the kitchen was just incredible.
Did you feel he was different, like on screen and off screen? Do you feel like on screen he was very much like a Gordon persona, and then off screen he wasn't, or what was that like?
I mean, my opinion of him and what I saw of him, I think he was very much the same off screen as he was on screen. I think a lot of people think that always one person off screen and another person on screen, but the way he was around us, you know, he was like that on screen and off screen. At the end of the day, we are cooking in his restaurant, which has a fantastic reputation, and this is his food, that this is his name. So obviously there was quite a bit of, like, you know, you have to put your head down and focus, and we all saw that, but he's an amazing guy. He's wonderful.
Well, we've got our reporter Grace McGrory here is joining us for a quick break into that chat with Radha. I've just got to ask the question to you guys. I'm not alone, am I? I'm not the only one who fancies Gordon Ramsay.
Well, see, I have a bit of an issue with this because my sister's friends say that my dad looks like Gordon Ramsay, so I feel like I can't really answer that question, Phoebe.
All right, well, I brought you in for it anyway. Mia, what about you?
Have to admit, there is just something about Gordon Ramsay.
There is.
Can't help but fancy him at least a little bit.
I feel like there's just so much depth in his forehead lines. I feel like it just gives so much character.
I think we might be on our way. We've both got matching
We're
forehead
doing
lines.
it doesn't work that well for
you can
radio,
see.
but yeah, we're going to get there one day.
So I think one day we might end up with.
I think it's the way he is with kids as well. I don't know
Oh,
what it
yeah,
is. I love it. I love
definitely.
seeing him shout at adults and then go to kids and go, "It's going to be okay. Your
Yeah.
souffle will be fine."
He's so sweet with the kids.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
He is. That changes absolutely everything.
Definitely.
But let's move away from Gordon Ramsay and just hear a little bit more about what Radha's plans for the future are. What's next for you then? What have you got coming up, or where is it that you want to go?
So I do have quite a large cooking ambition. I mean, for me, I'm now working very, very hard on moving to the next chapter, which is to establish a career in the food industry. Now, I have at the moment a solid business plan, which is, you know, it's going to start off with, you know, supper clubs and private dining, and I'm gonna sort of use that under my brand and the umbrella company, which is the Spicy Flexitarian. So, you know, I'm going to start off with the whole private dining, which is essentially bringing private fine dining to your own home. But the absolute ultimate goal and the dream would be my own TV program, or at least, you know, presenting on a TV cookery show. And then I have got a couple of cookbooks, you know, a few cookbook ideas as well. So I definitely think this is just the beginning of my journey within the food industry. And I'm very, very excited to see what's going to happen, really.
So I have a question now for you guys. Do you think you could do MasterChef?
No.
Absolutely not.
I don't know on this side of the desk whose cooking would be more questionable.
We've cooked for each other though, haven't we?
Quite a bit.
I've been to Phoebe's about 4 times, and every time I've had the same meal. It's been carbonara.
Yeah, I've literally had carbonara basically every night this week.
And lunch.
And lunch. Thank God I didn't bring in for lunch today. Actually, I've got a massive pot waiting for me at home. Grace made me pad thai.
Yeah.
Well, packet pad thai.
Packet pad thai.
It was really good. We had southern fried chicken in it. Was delicious.
Yeah. Spiced it up a bit.
So that would be our like audition dishes. What would your audition dish be?
I've made a good katsu curry once, but with sweet potato instead of chicken, because when I made it, I was vegetarian. The breading of the sweet potato didn't go great, but altogether it did taste quite nice.
You see, I used to make a katsu sauce before my friend bought the Wagamama's cookbook. And this involved me like boiling carrots, then straining carrots, and doing all of this. And then my friend bought the Wagamama's cookbook and was like, "You just blend it." And I was like, "Why haven't I been blending it? I don't understand."
So many times straining carrots.
I know, but at least it was healthy and it was good for me. And yeah.
And speaking of well-being and health, I spoke to David Senior earlier, and he's an event director for Cliff Castle Park Runs in Bradford, and we had a chat about tomorrow's GP Park Run takeover and the well-being activities alongside that.
Well, it's Cliff Castle Park in Keighley, and it's a combination with the local modality, the local doctors, GPs, and the park run every Saturday morning, as most people know, at 9 a.m. we have a parkrun there, attended by 100, 120 people. And this time the doctors are coming along. And what they do is they get involved in the parkrun, they come and volunteer, they help us out, and they also come along with their professional experience, coming along with doing blood pressure checks and health advice and things like that. Mainly because they're moving to what they describe as social prescribing, which is obviously offering alternatives to drugs when they're prescribing for people with certain conditions.
Have you done any GP takeovers before with your parkruns?
Yes, we did one last year, which was very successful. Loads of people turned out. And this time we've got a band turning up, and we've got various other things on as well. We've got some Tai Chi people coming to do a little warm-up for us, free campfire breakfast to get out more, tree planting with the Cliff Castle support group, and nutritional advice from people for healthy living. So it's well worth turning up. It starts at the parkrun starts at 9 o'clock, and the event finishes about lunchtime. So it'll be a good morning out.
Yeah, it really sounds like a lovely event. And it sounds like there's a lot for people to do there. What are the benefits of these GP parkrun takeovers? It sounds like there's a lot of things people can take away from the morning.
There is. They can just come and chat to the doctor in an informal setting, which is nice. They obviously bring the kids. They can they can run the parkrun, of course, if they wish. Virtually, there's loads of really good things to do. But actually, particularly for the kids, one of the local fitness instructors, Joe Cutton, is doing a sort of little boot camp for kids, which would be great fun, I think.
It sounds like great fun. So you said you did a GP parkrun last year, and obviously there's this one happening tomorrow. Are you planning to do any more in the future? If it's successful, will it become a regular thing?
Well, my doctor get in touch with us every so often, and they do parkruns. They do various parkruns in this area, so they contact us every so often, and we just have the parkrun at a period sort of defined by them, really. So it's whenever they say they want to do it, we're quite happy to accommodate them. It's a great morning out. It's great fun, and it's good exercise and healthy living, which is fabulous.
I think that event actually sounds quite a lot of fun. If I wasn't busy on Saturday, I'd definitely be down there. Never wanted to do a parkrun before, but
I feel like it's the kind of thing that we're now seeing so much more like since COVID. I'm trying to think, maybe I just wasn't listening, but before I would never have heard about anything like this, like doing Tai Chi in the park with your doctors. Wow. Sounds quite nice. It's one way of seeing them. I'll say that much. I don't think I've seen my GP in person for quite a while. If I had to do a parkrun to do it, I will. But no, it sounds really fun, I think. And from one sport to another, Yorkshire-based Ascendance Dance Group are calling for more people to join their weekly Dance with Parkinsons class.
The sessions are held at Victoria Hall in Saltaire every Thursday from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m.
Our reporter, who's with us now, Grace McGrory, met with the group and graced the floor with her moves.
For those living with Parkinson's, movement can be difficult. However, the people who attend the Dance for Parkinson's class in Saltaire every Thursday have found that dance has become a coping mechanism. With many of the participants being loyal members for 5 years, I asked them why they return every week.
Well, exercise, first bottom line is exercise. And then it's sort of camaraderie and social side as well. So it needs a lot of goals, really.
Well, it's something that we can do together, and that gives us a lot of joy.
I can just do what I can do. There's no pressure on me to do more than I can do with Parkinson's. Because we're all at different stages of Parkinson's. Some people are just sort of starting down that road, and I'm well on my way, as it were. I've got loads of disabilities to it, but I still will come in here and do what I can.
It's a lovely space as well. It's a lovely place to be.
I find it's good for my stiffness, particularly with Parkinson's and tremor as well. Yeah.
And do you like dance? Do you find that that's a good?
Yeah, it's more interesting than just doing standard exercises, I guess.
Yeah, it's nice to mix it up
Yeah,
a bit.
it's nice to have a bit more stimulation. I've had Parkinson's for 8 or 9 years. In fact, I think it's longer than that. It was 2008. Yeah, so it's a bit longer. And I've come to these exercise classes and they're fantastic. They just do everything what I need, you know, they get me going and I feel happy again.
Co-leader of the class, Izzy Britton, spoke about the benefits of dance for living with Parkinson's.
It's really about providing consistency and a community. There's been a lot of studies done into the benefits of dance for Parkinson's. So it's just really important to keep people moving and connected. And yeah, we carried on all the way through the pandemic online and things. So it's, you know, people make friends and it really kind of just keeps them going and keeps us going as well.
Members of the group are taught a number of dance routines, all of different intensities, and are encouraged to only contribute to a level they feel comfortable with. A number of classic tracks are used, from the can-can, the hacker, to Don't Stop Me Now. Firm favourite of long-term member Roger.
Don't Stop Me Now, that's one of my favourites.
Is that your favourite?
Yeah.
It is hoped by all members that the next 5 years will bring more laughs and can-cans.
Well, that sounds like so heartwarming. I can't even begin to say.
Honestly, I had the best afternoon. They let me get involved. They let me do the dances as well. And I honestly had one of the best afternoons. I really, really enjoyed it. It was such a pleasure to meet everyone.
What are the dances like then?
Yeah, so basically it's designed for anyone to be able to take part. So you all begin seated. So a lot of the warm-ups and the first few dances are sat down. But as the session goes on, if people feel more warmed up or if they feel able to, then they can stand up and they can do it. I did a few stood up. My moves aren't great though, I'm not gonna lie. So you can stand up, yeah, or sit down. It's whatever you feel comfortable with, which I think is the amazing thing. And it was just so nice to meet everyone because, like I said in the package, they've all been going for about 5 years, give or take. And so they all know each other and they've built up a massive community. And it is like a social event for them. And that's why I think it was so heartwarming and it was amazing.
I think that's what's so important about it as well, is I know a lot of people with Parkinson's and they do feel so isolated by it because they feel like they can't go out. Like one person I know, like they'll be walking around and they'll be like, I'm so embarrassed by how slow I'm going and how much time this takes me. I was like, it doesn't matter. Everyone, like, take life slowly. It doesn't matter. Like
exactly. Go at your own pace. Like I think that was one of the things as well that I learned yesterday, and that's what they all said when I was speaking to them. They all said that they're able to do exactly what they want. And like you were talking about being lonely, like obviously the pandemic wasn't great. But as Izzy said, they kept the classes going in the pandemic online. And so yeah, they've really built up this relationship with each other and it's so lovely. They're just looking for more people to get involved, really.
It's so nice they've got such a variety of music as well. If you had to do one dance to one song, what do you think you'd want?
Oh, what, the songs we heard or any song?
Any song.
Oh, I don't know. I think I'd pick something from like a musical, like a bit of classic Grease. You know?
Yeah,
one
bit
of
of Dirty Dancing.
Yeah, Dirty Dancing. Yeah.
What about you guys?
Yeah, I'd say musicals. I think that's a good. I think that's a good route to go down. They had a lot of variety. There were some well-known ones, some less well-known ones, and yeah, it was nice to get a variety. They had some equipment as well. So for the hacker, there were these. I don't know how you describe it. When you turn them upside down, they make like a swooshing sound.
Oh my god!
I know what you mean.
Yeah. So they were doing that, and that was really nice because they were able to like get involved with different equipment as well. And it's all about strengthening the muscles and keeping them active. And I think that was it was really good to mix it up a bit.
Nice to know there's a lot going on in Bradford then, really, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. And something else that's happening in Bradford is next week, Bradford University is taking part in the Global Pint of Science Festival.
Yeah, that's right. I spoke to Dr. Richie Williamson, who's one of the directors of research at the Department of Life Sciences at the University of Bradford, who gave us some more details on the upcoming festival.
The Pint of Science Festival is a way of bringing research to the general public, and there's a whole number of Bradford academics that have now got involved in this Pint of Science. So because the University of Bradford is one of the major research hubs within the city, then it makes sense for a lot of the academics that work at the University of Bradford to get involved in the Bike Science Festival.
And it's a global festival, is that right?
In about 25 countries across the world and 33 cities in Bradford. And it started in the UK. It's a number of events around certain themes, such as atoms to galaxies or the beautiful mind. And so researchers will be coming and they'll be giving you the demonstrations or talks in and around their research. And some of them will be interactive and you can get involved in, and others you'll be able to listen to the talks, and then there might be a panel discussion. So it's a very interactive format where people come and hear about the research that we're doing in Bradford and then get involved.
That sounds great. And because it's so interactive, do you think that's what makes it accessible to the general public? Like anyone can go along and just kind of understand something new?
I think it's partly the format, but it's also the way that it's delivered. So it's not very scientific language. It's the way that we can communicate it and make it accessible for people, so they can have a greater understanding. Because quite often scientists are viewed as being behind walls and doing experiments that they don't feel as though they can understand. And this is a way of bringing that understanding to them.
Well, talking to Dr. Richie Williamson, it sounds like this Pint of Science Festival is going to be so cool. You can buy tickets on the Pint of Science website. And some of the things he was talking about, like one was about, he mentioned something to do with using lasers to see if there's life outside of Earth. And I was like, well, that sounds pretty cool, if I'm honest. I'd probably think of either of you guys sciencey?
I was more English.
Yeah, same.
English sort of, history, humanities sort of.
I was a bit of a wannabe scientist.
Yeah.
I got a telescope for Christmas about 4 years ago, so not when I was young, when I was like a full 18-year-old. And I've always wanted to understand like physics and science. My brain is just not wired for it.
And your favourite film
Interstellar
is Interstellar.
But I do semi-understand that because my dad this Christmas, he exclusively buys me Buddhist books or space books. And this Christmas it was about the science of Interstellar because they got a real scientist on to go through it to make sure it was all like legit science. And I've tried giving it a read and I semi-understand it. But I do think the Pint of Science Festival might do a better job at making science accessible for people than me or that book.
I feel like it'll be, I don't really understand science that much, to be honest. I would love to, but it just nothing goes in. It was such a struggle in school. Getting the grades I got, it was like an everyday thing. But yeah. And then something else that's exciting that's coming up. This weekend, the Cherry Blossom Festival in Bradford is going to be happening. I spoke to Sonia Kilty about the event and she told me some stuff that you can expect to do if you decide to go along.
The main pull for this weekend is the infamous Bollinghall cherry blossom trees, which I'm sure if you follow Twitter and social media now, it gets bigger every year now because of social media, I suppose, and people with their cameras. So the trees in the gardens look absolutely magnificent this time of year. And it's just almost like a Japanese cherry blossom time now there. So we've got volunteer gardeners who keep all the gardens looking great, and they wanted to celebrate that. So they're going to be there helping children and families plant their own little bulb, and you can decorate your pot and you can take it home. We've got the Gurdwara down the road on Wakefield Road. They're going to send us over a load of samosas, which you can buy, quite low cost, with tea and coffee and cake. And we've got the library is now open in Bollinghall. So if no one knows that, there is now a small library open in Bollinghall, part of Bradford Libraries, and you can go in there for some storytelling time. And we've got some little goodie bags in there on nursery rhymes that you can pick up and take away for children. You can make your own little cherry blossom with children, a little flower out of tissue. And what else have we got? I'm trying to think what else we've got. Oh, we've got a gorgeous rainbow Morris dancing in the gardens. So it's kind of like a nice midsummer type festival, really. And we've also got Fairies Wardrobe, who are brilliant. They're going to do some face painting all on fairies and flowers. And small children can get their photos taken with the fairy blossom, the blossom fairy in their grotto in the gardens. So it's really celebrating spring, the cherry blossom and the gardens, but we do want people to visit the little museum and remember it's there.
Yeah, and if you do love the gardens as well, if you go this weekend, you can get involved through volunteering for to look after the garden, because it is a lovely place, and you can find that through the museum's website.
That all sounds absolutely
That sounds so
gorgeous. I want
nice.
my face painted.
Me too.
That'd be so sweet.
Yeah, and it's apparently the blossoms that are really beautiful. Like she said, they're very similar to like the Japanese blossoms you see, which are quite iconic.
I think cherry blossom's one of my favourite.
Yeah.
One of my favourite brands of body wash does cherry blossom scent. I won't mention it on radio because I'm too prominent.
Yeah, so thank you for joining us today. If you've missed any of the show, you'll be able to download it from your favourite podcast provider.
And you can join us next Monday for another Yorkshire Voice Newscast show at 1:15.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
This is Leeds Trinity University.